but am I alive? That's the question. 2022, folks. If you can believe it, 2022, year of the great sweaty Hewlett. Return of the great sweaty Hewlett. Um, I'll wait a second for this to, propagate as it does on YouTube. It does take forever for that to happen now. Mm-hmm. The best uncle ever. Just saying. Just saying. I can't imagine they make many of these cups. This must be a one of a kind sent to me, I'm sure. Hello. Well, I can't see who said hello. Hello, Nat. Oh God, I sweated all over the. What? Is our internet that bad? Oh my God. Our internet, for some reason, our Wi-Fi's got crazy bad. I'm probably on the. I have a feeling that my Wi-Fi is another 2 weeks. These political types love to get voted in and then computer downstairs in case I have a feeling I'm just in a bit of a dead zone down there because I'm on a different network I've been playing with. I played with a new PF Sense router and I've got a new network for us, and of course it's not really meant for Wi-Fi in the basement. It's meant for everything else. No, it's not just you. Rebels already saying hello to everybody. Sabnico, I like that. Ha, mustache. Oh yeah, maybe it's my mustache that's blocking the Wi-Fi. It's true. The Wi-Fi waves are hitting it and getting knocked all over the place. So I'm a horrible sweaty wreck because my wife has got me exercising again. She even dragged Baz into it this time. So we've all been like crazy too many turkeys. She cooks these amazing foods and like does these apple crumbles with caramel sauce and bakes mince pies and makes turkeys and then says, you should exercise. I'm like, excuse me, I wouldn't have to exercise if I wasn't eating all your delicious foods. Anyways, so we did this, we started, in order to try to lure Baz into a little bit of fitness as well, we started doing this Peloton boxing. Holy moly. I tell you, I used to love this stuff because I used to do, what did I used to do? Taekwondo back in the days, years ago. When I first met Jane, I was actually fit. It's been a grave disappointment for her to just watch me slowly disintegrate, or slowly let gravity take over. I've expanded, and so anyways, she's got me exercising, partially also because I start filming, hopefully the second week of January. So I did all my wardrobe fittings before Christmas, and I said to them, like, you might want to leave like an extra turkey in the pants or so, because it is Christmas. I don't know whether they listened or not, but so I've got to be doing a lot of fitting into wardrobe. So I thought I should probably start exercising. And the other thing that was a little alarming was my friend who's directing, Vincenzo Natali is directing, the guy who did Cube, and an old friend of mine, like literally from school, like we met in high school, and we've been working together ever since. And just one of the loveliest individuals you will ever have the pleasure of meeting. If you ever get a chance to see Vincenzo talking about his movies or in person or whatever, go and see him, because he's just an incredibly talented artist, a lovely, lovely human being, and he just knows film. Like, he just knows film so well. It's just, it's such a pleasure to work with him. And it's just such a pleasure to be working with such an old friend, because it's just sort of like, you do the scene and he goes, yeah. It's like, yeah, I wrote it for you, so that's, of course you did it the right way type thing. So it's just lovely. It's lovely. I mean, anyway, so that's a real pleasure. And of course it's for Guillermo del Toro as well. And I just went and saw his Nightmare Alley, and oh man, whew, let me tell you, that is a beautiful, beautiful film. I mean, it's hard to beat Shape of Water, but this is a very different film. But man, it is just gorgeous, like just beautifully done. Yeah, so that was spectacular as well. It was kind of lucky. I got forced to go because I refused to go to Spider-Man. I was like, nope, there's a pandemic on. I'm not going to go see some stupid Marvel film in the middle of a pandemic. So my wife took our child anyways, because she's like that. And her carefree ne'er-do-well attitude is, frankly catching. So I was like, no, I don't want to see Marvel. I don't want to see another Spider-Man movie. I'm so done on Spider-Man. Then I hear it's like the best Spider-Man ever. But anyways, but she refused to let me not go and see Nightmare Alley. So we bought tickets. There were like 4 people in the theater. We invited my mom and my dad because we knew they were all vaccinated and clear. So they came with us. And then Baz's best friend, and as it turns out, 2 of our best friends, who are his parents, bag of chips. If anyone knows the Tech Bandits, that's who we went with. Yeah, just had just a lovely time. I mean, I'm very nervous in the theaters. I'm a freaking mess. Like there was a guy sitting like two like chairs down, and he opened a thing of candies and started eating them and drinking. And I was like, no, you're not supposed to be doing that. I didn't say anything. I just looked at him with stern Hewlett eyes. Very Canadian, like, whew, they should not be doing that. I will look away so I can't see them. So I was very aware of other people in the theater. I prefer nowadays to just see films at home. Honestly, I just, that's how we watch The Matrix. Yeah, that's all I'll say. All I'll say is Keanu Reeves is still the coolest man alive, and probably worth seeing it just to see how cool he is. But man, what a steaming whatever it is. Like, it reminded me like of a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers episode. It was just, anyways. I mean, I should have known better because I hated everything after the first one, anyways. But this one just seemed so. I don't know. The first like half of the movie is just them telling you how great the Matrix is. It was just sort of, anyways, I don't know. Nightmare Alley. Yeah, Nightmare Alley is a really fun one to see in the theater too, I would say, but it's probably not worth your life. So, get it when it comes out on video or on, digital release. Oh, someone's talking in German. What are they saying? Something. Schon gewusst, dass bei Stargate will den real sing. I don't know what that means, Buell, but is Stargate real? It should be, if it isn't. Hello, David and chat. Hello, whoever just said hello. Hello, Ivan. Good to see you. Bass eating noises are the worst, not just at the movies. Yeah, eating noises are just, it's one of those. I think there must be like a phobia, or like people have like issues with eating noises. There must be something, there's like some kind of a thing that's called like, some kind of like an aversion to mouth noises. I'm not a big fan of mouth noises. He says making mouth noises. Best way to start 2022 with a burn and learn. Is it a burn and learn though, Anima Confusa? Like, is it? I feel sort of, I wasn't really learning any. Well, I guess I was learning boxing, I suppose, but it just, this is my problem with exercise, is it feels like it's focused on the meat. You know what I mean? It's focused on the wetware. And I like to focus on this part because, I've given up on this part. But so I like to be learning something when I do it. But that said, I will make an exception for this because it includes my wife and my son, and we'd all do it together, and we're all kicking and punching, and we don't actually get to kick, actually, which sucks. We should do kickboxing, not just boxing, stupid boxing. Although I'll tell you, that stance where you got to be like bouncing like this the whole time, holy crap, that takes it out of you after a while. Like, you can see why boxers are so fit and why I'm so unfit. But one of the things that this director friend of mine said when we first started the show, we started prep for the show, so we started shooting next week, I guess. Next week? No, like, next week, I guess now. Is he said, like, you might want to work on your core. And I was like, what? And he said, well, just because there's a lot of, well, I shouldn't say what I'm doing, shouldn't I? There's a lot of physical exercise in this one. There's like a lot of dialogue at the beginning, like insane amounts of dialogue that are so much fun, and I cannot wait to play with them. But then there's an awful lot of action. So there's like pages of just action, and it's just, and it's going to be exhausting, and it's going to be miserable. But for some reason, those are the best things. I love those things. Anyways, David, do I watch anime? I do watch anime. We watched a bunch of Attack on Titan. Death Note season 1 is perfection. And then I won't say, but one of my favorite characters dies, and then it never really picked up again for me. But I should probably go back to it. You know what I have to do today, actually, and I welcome you all to do the same. Is I'm going to watch the first David Tennant Doctor Who. Because I'm going to go back to the Salty Nerds, my favorite nerdy podcasts, nerdy movie podcasts, they're doing an episode on Doctor Who, and they said, like, do you want to, you're like a Doctor Who guy, do you want to come by and join us? And I was like, well, any excuse to join the Salty Nerds, I'm there. It's just I love what they're doing. I love them. I love what they're doing. I just think that just something so exciting about seeing like a bunch of people who love films and wine and other people's company and opinions and just to see them enjoying themselves and making a podcast. And I would just love to see them doing that for a living, frankly. I just think that that inspires me immensely, people like that. And Matthew's got a whole book series that you should check out. What is it? Earthman Jack. They're working nerds. I love it. They're just like they're hardworking nerds, and they're I think they're spreading their nerdy joy, and I love being a part of it. So, happy New Year's to you all. Yes, I've had a lot of those. Thank you very much, Gaminator, and Spinner Breaker's going to go to bed. Yeah, no, I think that is really good. Brisbane can't sleep. I know it's tough when you can't sleep. The worst thing to do though is to get on a phone. I find. But I go and have like a cup of tea, non-decaf, and then I go back to bed again usually. Tennant was a great doctor. He really was. And this is a lot of the Salty Nerds introduction to Doctor Who. Like they've never seen any Doctor Who. So I'm not going to profess to be a Doctor Who like fanatic in any way. I was when I was a kid. Aged of 10 to 16 probably. No, actually. Well, I mean, I started watching when I was like 4, but it really became, well, it was available in Canada when I was a little older, and oh God, I loved it. The John Pertwee and Tom Baker years were just spectacular. I sort of dropped off after that. No offense to Peter Davison, but it was just other things to do. I thought I was too cool. But Doctor Who's what made me an actor. So I'm just kind of really curious to see what the Salty Nerds make of the new one. I will confess, because I'm old and grumpy, I don't like change. I like my old doctors. Of course, I don't want them back again. But I found my favorite was probably Matt Smith because he was so much like it's to me so much of the energy and the peril that good old Tom Baker or John Pertwee brought to it. I mean, they just felt. I think those episodes I felt were a little bit more. I don't know. They just seemed a little more exciting to me. Whereas the Tennant ones always just seemed, not because of Tennant, but because I just found that the writing got a little campy there, and I was like, And I worry that we've gone too much into the companion stuff. A little bit of companion stuff is fantastic, but I'm there for the Doctor. I gotta say, so and I know that's probably old, white, and and all that stuff, but I that's how I remember it. The companions were always companions. They weren't the storyline, if that makes sense. I'd love to play Doctor Who. Oh my God, how great would that be? Tennant is utterly brilliant. It's true. David Tennant is a freaking amazing actor, and I just as the Doctor Who, as the package that includes the show and the episodes and everything, I found Matt Smith far more like the Doctor I remembered, but that's whatever. All right. So definitely, we're recording it. I guess we're recording it tomorrow. So keep an eye out for the Salty. Well, just go. Just go and follow. Just go and subscribe to the Salty Nerds. It's the Salty Nerd podcast. I think you'll enjoy it. I mean, they watch. You'll get a very honest opinion on stuff. They were brutally honest about all the aspects of C that they loved and the aspects of C that they hated. And I can't wait to see what they come up with for me for season 3, which I've got a lot more to do in. So John Barrowman, though, I see, that's so funny. I just didn't feel like the thing I liked about the old Doctor was that it was about the old Doctor. It was just I feel like you get lazy when you start bringing in all sorts of other characters to make things interesting. It's much harder to keep things interesting with that one singular focus of the Doctor. And I feel like, and this is partially the way just television has worked as well now. Is like people need to bring in, they love all the stunt casting and the bringing people in and all this kind of stuff. But I've always preferred it when it focused on obviously the characters that I love, and Doctor Who is one of the ones that I loved. I have not watched a lot of Jodie's. Is it Jodie Whittaker? Is that right? I can't remember what her name is. Someone will get me right, I'm sure. I really. I thought she was fantastic. I thought she's absolutely fantastic. Again, but I haven't really seen much of the shows. So what else do I have to tell you? I've got to get back to some Tech Bandits at some point. Maybe I'll do it this afternoon if I got some time. Maybe I can do that. But the holidays have just been honestly lovely. It's been a bit of a lockdown here, and they just locked us down even more. They just closed schools for the next 2 weeks, which will be poor Jane. I go to work and Baz stays home. Not that he's a lot of work, but just that, you sort of want to, if he's supposed to be doing school, you sort of have to keep an eye on him because there's obviously a lot of distractions, including myself, around. So, we're sort of trying to figure that out. Although I got to say, I was I know I'm like like a little chicken little, like the sky is falling stuff. I had said, look, I wanted to keep him home for the first 2 weeks because I just wanted I wanted this wave over because I didn't think there's any point in him going to school, getting to school, them saying, oh, someone's got contact, we got to go, everyone go home, and then 3 days here and 3 days there. I just thought it was just better to just have him set up at, he can set up at the dining room table, put out the laptop, get ready, and just work this. Just know that he gets up, has breakfast, does his work, as opposed to this back and forth and this insecurity of whether you're actually going to be at school or not. I feel bad for the teachers. I feel bad for the parents who are going to have to deal with people. I don't even know. Like, I mean, I'm very lucky in that I actually prefer having my kid around. And I'm sure people would love to have the luxury of preferring to have their kid around, but a lot of people have to work. I was really hoping to drag Baz to set, which I don't think is going to happen now because I just don't know how we're going to. I mean, he could get tested, I guess, and stuff. I could ask them. I just think he'd have so much fun because we've got all sorts of crazy makeup stuff and effects. And I mean, I cannot wait to see. Well, frankly, I can't wait to see any of these. They're, what are they? Is it Guillermo del Toro Presents? Oh, somebody wants my attention by making farting noises by the door. Are you farting? Why do you look so offended? All right, let's get you out. You going out into the wild and wintry. What is it? Squirrels? Snow. Uh-oh. She's on the trail. She's on the trail of squirrels, the squirrel trail. She's literally sitting by the door farting. That's lovely. I'm supposed to take her out, by the way. I'm procrastinating now, but naturally I want to talk to you, but I want to go out in -15 even less. Okay, wow, haven't seen one of these streams in a while. Yes, Jumbo TV, it has been. You know what? I haven't done a live stream on YouTube for a very, very long time. What have you guys been watching? What's up? What do you like? Tell me what's up in the world. What do you around the world? What are people enjoying? What are they watching? What films? What TV? What new science and crazy inventions should I be keeping an eye on? Stream plans for 2022. Here's a schedule. I mean, I really would like to come up with a schedule, but again, I can't come up with a schedule while I'm working. I mean, I guess I don't film. I don't think I film weekends, but there's a good chance I'm going to be shooting. They call them Fraturdays because Friday night turns into Saturday morning, and then you're basically sleeping all Saturday. So the first of your 2 days off is basically spent asleep, trying to catch up on sleep. So I don't know if I can commit to doing stuff on the weekends. I'd love to pop in on. I mean, look, frankly, I love my tech talks with Barnacules and Auxiliary. Every Saturday, but maybe I could try for a Sunday or something. I don't know, but apart from that, what I would very much like to do is set a schedule after that, like set a schedule for a month in advance, so I can to take stock of what's happening and maybe actually get a proper schedule going. Because it'd be nice to. And I also really like to split stuff up, so it's not just Tech Bandits all the time. I love Tech Bandits, and I will things will often veer towards Tech Bandits. For those of you who don't know, that's my science, technology, engineering, arts, and math attempts, inspirations for kids, basically. And so we have a bunch of kids on that join us. And I'd really like to expand that to some other kids as well. But again, I also don't know how to broach that because we get a lot of people who I feel like they want their kids to do it. I'm not sure if their kids want to do it. And I think a big part of this is the kids wanting to sort of, do it without being, arm twisted and stuff. So, live long and prosper. Thank you very much, Jedro. I can't say it too. There you go. Obviously, the new Star Wars spin-off started. Book of Boba Fett. Yeah. I saw it. I saw the first episode. I'm so jaded now. Like, I'm so freaking jaded. The best thing I've watched on streaming in the last little while, other than I loved The Great enough that I named my dog Huzzah. I absolutely adore that show. I don't know what it is about that, but it just gets me just every time. But the most spectacular thing I've seen, and stop watching me and go watch it right now, is Arcane on Netflix. It's animated. It's loosely based on some League of Legends stuff, but don't let any of that put you off if you're not a League of Legends fan. It is some of the most beautiful animation, and frankly, and storytelling that I've seen. It's absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. I couldn't get my eyes off it. Baz and I binged the entire thing. He's now watching it again with his friends. And good Lord, look at this massive, matty, gross hair. Ew. The Witcher again. I didn't really get into The Witcher either. Happy New Year, ASMR gamer. Yeehaw! Yes, indeed. Disney Star Wars is not my thing. Yeah, did the Disneyfication of things. So I heard something that was kind of interesting was that all the big blockbuster movies, which basically means Disney now, they all have to make sure that their scripts are cleared for China, and that really bothers me. Our the whole idea of like capitalism and democracy was that capitalism was gonna spread democracy around the world, freedom and rights for all, and and freedom of speech and all that stuff. And we really thought that capitalism would spread around the world and thus spread democracy, everything would be great and everyone would love each other. It'd be big hugs, unicorns, and rainbows. Well, here's the scary thing: when you've got Apple pulling apps off the App Store because China doesn't like them, like for example, apps that say, help protesters in Hong Kong track various different gatherings and police action. When Apple is forced to get rid of those because they want to sell their phones in China, I start going, and then you hear about Hollywood, vetting their scripts with China first. I start going like, wait a second, who's spreading what where at this point? Like, so none of our big action movies are going to mention Tiananmen Square. None of our big action films are going to mention the Uyghurs or any of these. I mean, again, I'm not saying that Canada's got its own issues that definitely need to be addressed as well. I mean, the state of our First Nations people here is a fucking travesty, I would have to say. In this day and age that you've got to beg for freaking, or you got to fight and beg and plead for freaking drinkable water is fucking ridiculous. Internet access, I'm by no means saying that we are guilt free on this stuff, but to hear that as always, Hollywood is kowtowing to whoever's got the most money and the most audiences, and I find that terrifying, actually. I find it really, really scary that we're just basically, so what do we just like? We just whitewash all the stuff. We just remove all the nasty stuff that people have done because we want their money, and anyways, just kind of worries me. Just had a similar chat on YouTube about this. Oh, really? Some approved? Really? With who? Black Cauldron stuff. What's Black Cauldron, ASMR gamer? Same thing happening in the gaming world. Companies turning content to the Chinese government like is yes, yeah, it makes total sense. So you go, wait a second, we're not spreading peace, love, freedom and unicorns to everybody. We're basically kowtowing to this complete controlling state of with complete lack of freedom. I mean, I know it's not as simple as just say no. I know it's not as simple as that. I understand that. I know there's much more nuance than that. But when I hear stories like recently, Apple pulled a couple of apps, including a news app, because they were covering the Hong Kong protests, and so they just got, what was it called, Quartz or something, just got pulled from the store. And eventually, it's like California emissions standards. California emissions standards are notoriously much more stringent than anywhere else in the States. So what do car companies do? Well, they make sure that their cars will meet those emission standards, so they don't have to have two different types of cars for different states or three different or whatever it is. They basically go, who's the biggest pain in our ass? Fine, okay, we'll create a car that's suitable for them, and that'll be good for everybody. Well, when China becomes the place to go for audiences and money and funding and all that kind of stuff, then those standards are the ones that are going to get upheld, and that's what really, really worries me. TikTok. I've said this before. I mean, TikTok. The government walked in and said we're taking a seat on the board, and basically taking a chunk of ownership and a chunk of control, because talk about unicorns and happiness. I would love to see any political news show up on TikTok with any kind of weighted in any way against China. I mean, this is what I worry about. It's like, oh, no, it's all good, man. It's all fine. Everyone's happy. We're just singing and drinking cranberry juice. Okay. What else we got? Interesting. Disney hasn't done anything with Winnie the Pooh related for over a decade, almost as if certain world leaders in Asia didn't like being compared to the silly old bear. Oh, bother. Yeah. Wow. That's a really interesting point. Yeah. He was. Was it the current leader, or was the leader before who was the code name. Like if you wanted to say something bad against the leader, you would talk about Winnie the Pooh as opposed to, as opposed to, saying the name of whoever the leader was. I've been called an activist in Canada. I only want the same right for everyone, but am I the crazy one? Go figure. I mean, this is the weird thing, right? Is that it sounds so simple. Equality for all. But of course, when you get into start to make that work for everybody, I understand that there's political machinations and there's a machine that has to run. I understand that would make it difficult. But in this day and age, could we not all have one person, one vote? Would that not be? Would that just not be? I don't understand why we have to group people into these imaginary groups and say like, oh, this riding voted for whoever. It's like, no, let's just see how many people voted for how many people. Although again, you get into crazy problems. Like, what do you do? Like, was that they were trying to name a boat? Was it in Britain or something? They were trying to name a new polar explorer boat of some sort, and they opened it up to the audience, and it was like Bodie McBoatface is the one that got the vote. So God knows who's going to get voted. Maybe it could be me. Rodney McKay gets voted to. But I mean, the point being is that I think you can't. How do you run a country or a planet when everyone is just out for their own good, basically. I mean, that's the frustrating part. And again, if things are going well for you, you don't want them to change. If things aren't going well for you, you want them to change. I understand it's far more complicated than that, and I don't really want to get into politics. It's just more of to me, it's almost more of a technology dilemma. I go like, we have the ability for everyone to have a vote, right? You could literally just go to your iPad and everyone just votes on the day they're supposed to vote, and we would get an absolute exact tally of who's voted when, where, all that kind of stuff. But I guess that terrifies people. So, hello, Miss Liz, the wonderful Miss Liz. What do we got? We are Earth. Time for change. Yeah, no kidding. You are a very moral person. Oh, I don't know about that. Poo-poo politics. There you go. You see, there you go. That could be our political party, Missy Moonwillow. It could be. Welcome to the poo-poo party. Speaking of the poo-poo party, look who wants to come in. Have you had your time out? Please bring that snow with you. What do we got? You get back to work. Kim, you go back to work. Have a great day. You back to work already? I thought today was a holiday. Is today not a holiday? Is today not? I thought everything started tomorrow, but maybe that's a Canadian thing. Sorry, I don't want to make you sick by moving my camera around. Put it back there. The world is a complicated place. Be a shining star in the sky. Oh. Well, that's the problem, isn't it? It's all our freaking billionaires are flying off to become stars in the sky, aren't they? I have to go back to work. Yes, Ari Berman. Everyone go back to work. Ari, oh my God, Ari, Happy New Year, buddy. I forgot to say Happy New Year to you. Ari, fantastic guy. Very much enjoying one of the highlights of my 2021 was chats with Ari. It's the 3rd at a Monday, LOL. But I thought the 3rd was a holiday too for some reason. Anyways, all right. Government offices get a holiday today, and banks do they not? So it's a bank holiday. Okay, that makes sense. ASMR gamers laughing at me. I give selfishly. Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's very true. Bye. See you. All right. See you, Liz. General Banana. You lucky one have snow, but sadly we in Germany don't. Oh, I don't know. It was minus 15. I don't know what it is now. It was like minus 15 this morning. It's pretty miserable, I've got to say. Any updates on Stargate? I wish ASMR gamer. Nothing. I got nothing for you. There was an interview with RDA, I guess, that the companion did. They asked me to promote it, but I was a bit odd about it because I was just like, it's a for-pay service, and I can't really speak to it, so I just felt a little weird. I was a total coward. I just didn't respond. But yes, there's some stuff there that I don't know whether there's any information about the new show or not. I could just only assume that there's going to be a new show. I doubt it'll have anything to do with us. Unless they want mustachioed McKay. Though he'd be a good villain. Villainous McKay. I always wanted to do that. That'd be fun. Which is actually a good reason to go and see I'm a little bit in season 2 and a little bit and a lot more in season 3 of C. So bit disappointed about the companion. Are you? Oh, really? What's the deal, Brader? What's the Brexiter? Are you a Brexiter? Brexiter, you're a bit disappointed about the companion. What's the deal on what are people's opinion on that? Oh my God, 15 minutes here and we barely hit the minus 10 within the north part of France. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's fun. Huh. My struggle is finding a job that pays my worth when government is bending to billionaires but not caring about workers is the problem. Yeah, I mean it's money makes the world go round, doesn't it? I mean it's kind of I mean I think they're talking about this sort of this mass sort of exodus from work right now. Sorry, this is the great sweaty hewlett, by the way. My post punching exercise, and I think we're beginning to realize that at what point is there just at what point is there too much money in too few hands? I mean, I don't want to turn into a freaking, you know, Stalin or something here. I don't want to sort of, to start like pulling money away from people. But I do feel that at the very least there should be an equality in tax payments. I mean, I pay ridiculous amounts in tax, like freaking nuts amounts of tax. We are citizens of three countries, right? I mean, not that we live in Canada, but we're American and British as well. And my God, the freaking various different taxes and forms that have to be filled out to do that. It's just so. And then Canada, of course, I have a huge issue with the tax system in general, in that it just rewards you to cheat it. Like really, they're saying like, come on, try to screw us out of as much money as you possibly can. I don't understand why they don't. I don't exactly know how it would work with like a flat tax or something like that. But just tell me how much I freaking owe. Like, just tell me. I don't have to hire people to try to screw you out of as much money as possible. Just tell me what I owe, and as long as I know everyone else is paying the same amount, I earn $10. I give them $3. If that's what it comes down to, I don't like it, but at least I know that everyone who earns $10 is paying $3. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I want. I don't want a system where I'm supposed to go like, aha, so I earned $10, but then because I lent myself this and then borrowed this and did that, and I didn't actually pay for that, I got that. I just whatever. Just freaking, just simplify the freaking tax system, or just get rid of it and just give us a nice bill at the end of the year, or whatever it is. Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand a lot of the tax systems. Where are you based, AP? What's your tax system like? Oh my God, we're having a talk about tax. Isn't that great? I'm disappointed with these salty nerds. They have a lot of stuff for patrons only. Like the second half of my interview. What? Well, I'm sure by the time you've watched the first half, Look, I mean, the reality is they got to earn a living, right? I mean, they got to in order to be able to keep doing this stuff, they got to pay for it. So I don't resent that for them. Maybe I could see if I could get them to give you a deal or something. I can ask about when we see them on Doctor Who. I'll see if they could do like a Stargate deal or something. I don't know, or a Hewlett deal. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sort of torn on the content stuff. I think you get half. So you get half of the interview. I don't know. I mean, look, I don't. It feels weird to me to get paid to do interviews. So I don't really. It just seems to be a weird way of doing things. So if people want to do interviews and I'm free and I'm interested, then I will do them. It's simple as that. I don't do all of them. I will admit I'm pretty picky. The Salty Nerds came on my radar because Jonathan Tropper, who's like my favorite showrunner, he's the guy who wrote and produced C season 2 and 3. I freaking love that guy. Like he's just a great guy. And he's done. God, he did Warrior. He did. God, well, look him up. You look him up. He's fantastic. He's also written some brilliant books. I read his Book of Joe, and it's a fantastic book. Anyways, yeah. So he was so enamored with the Salty Nerds. He just loved how sort of they were. I mean, they were tough. I mean, they were really tough on him and the show and people in the show, and I think he just sort of valued that kind of candidness from them. So he appeared on the show and he said he enjoyed it, and he said that they'd watched Stargate and were sort of interested in having a chat too. And I got in there and started chatting with him. It was great, just fun, just really fun. Yeah. So, oh my God, Walter, I love black books. I want to do a cosplay Bernard sometime. Black books. Walter and Black Books. I don't know that one. What is that? Okay, question from the Tool Guy. What was it like working with your real life sister playing your sister? Are the characters similar in real life? Yeah, yeah. It was fun. It was really fun having Kate there. The logistics of shooting were tough because she was sort of flown in the night before and then thrown into a huge scene with lots of dialogue. So So I mean, she's definitely sort of staggering around the first day before she could really sort of have a chance to sort of enjoy it. But we at one point, the director on one of the shows said, you know, you got to remember, you guys are related. And I was like, what does that mean? He said, well, you're just being horrible to each other. And I was like, yeah, we're related. Like, what do you siblings don't? I mean, in our relationship, it is a rare thing that we're like, you know, all warm and fuzzy. I mean, it's normally just like, you know, Kate and I can turn everything into a combative sport. So we just felt that we wanted to bring that. I think some of the script stuff, you know, I mean, some of the lovey-dovey script stuff about, you know, oh, I love you and I love you and all that kind of stuff. I think there's an illusion that siblings. I think deep down you feel that probably it's probably like some kind of a genetic thing, right? I mean, like, what do they say? Like, you know, one sibling is as valuable as two half siblings is as valuable as four cousins. You know, from an evolutionary standpoint. So I think there's some kind of a reason why we're all supposed to get along. But you know, Kate and I have always got along so well that we just razz each other all the time. And we fight. Oh my God, we fight. But we always, I mean, all of us fought. I mean, God, Moira and I, my sister and I, we would fight, and Jenny and I have 5 younger sisters. We fought. The womb hive mind, indeed. Your oldest of 9. Holy crap, Adam, I'm confused. That is a lot of kids. Speaking of Stargate, playing a role in C must have been a bit of a reunion, wasn't it? Yes, it was, Bass. It really was. Yeah, it was fun. I got to see Joe. Not as much as I'd like. He couldn't make it back in for one of our scenes, which sucks because they ended up cutting it. But I was really looking forward to having a nice little dinner scene with him. But we didn't end up doing that. But we did end up doing a couple scenes together. And he's just it's just so good to see him again. I mean, he's such a character. He's so funny. You know, he reminds me. I was watching Blade Runner 2049. Last night again, and he reminds me of Harrison Ford. He's got like a real Harrison Ford look, Joe. You know, not an ugly man. What else we got? Was your dad the most strict with you since you were the boy? Yes, Jumbo TV. I got away with nothing. Kate got away with murder. That's all I'm going to say. I want to get my hands on the lighter. What? Absolute classic. What are you talking about? What are you guys rambling on about? Yeah. So what else do I have for you? What else have I seen? What else have I enjoyed? We finished Succession. Oh, that is a great show. I don't know if you haven't seen that. Talking about siblings not getting along. That is the show to watch for that. Succession is freaking brilliant. Just miserably brilliant. We loved watching that. I'd like to see Rodney character return. It tied the original together without him. Sort of like seeing a familiar face at a new duty station. That's true, isn't it? Plans for the year. I'm off to a great start this year, I've got to say. I'm very, very excited because, you know, working for Guillermo del Toro again, and I think probably even more importantly, working with like my best friend who's directing and wrote it, Vincenzo Natali. So I'm just, I'm kind of in heaven right now. I think February is going to be the most miserable because I'm like, oh God, like I'm going to face considering trying to get other work again, and then, although I don't really want to. That's the funny thing is I don't really want to work. I'd rather just like, see, this is why you should pay, you know, Salty Nerds for their stuff. So they can do it full time. Like, that's the beauty of this stuff, right? Is that, I mean, I don't resent people asking for money for stuff because if it's good, then you know, sign up for a month, watch the stuff you want. And then if you don't want to renew, you don't renew. But I do think it's important that people get paid. Like someone was just saying, it's really hard to get a job that pays their worth. Well, you know, the amount of work the Salty Nerds put in is crazy. Like they dedicate every single Tuesday to doing all their interviews. Then they spend all week doing the editing and you know, the promotion stuff and the little thumbnails, all these little things that add up. There's just a lot of work to it, you know. I really don't begrudge them the money. You know, but that's I guess in a way that's my dream. I love being on set. I love acting, but I fucking hate being an actor. Like, I just hate it. I hate all the politics. I hate, you know, all the auditioning and the networking and all that. I just suck at it. So invariably, I work with people I know, people I like, or people who like me. And you know, it works out. I've been very lucky in that it works out very well. But I'm not terribly good at sort of pursuing work, shall we say, especially now because it's so hard to find. I watched a movie the other day that I had auditioned for, and the guy who did the role was just brilliant, just fantastic. But I actually didn't. I didn't even go in for it because I hated it. I hated it. It was, again, this guy did a brilliant job with what it was. And I didn't even realize I was watching a movie that I'd auditioned for. I probably wouldn't have watched it if I'd known. And I didn't actually audition for it. Sorry, that they'd asked me to audition for. And I read this part. It was this horrible like serial killer, and he's like everyone's a bitch. He's gonna kill every woman and all. It was a horrible, horrible part. As a kid, as a young guy, I think I would have. Well, I've played them. I've done it. Yeah, in fact, I started off by playing a lot of those kind of characters, serial killer, evil, types. And then, and I read it, and I was just like, oh no. And they're like, oh, but there's so and so's in it. It's like a very famous name. I'm like, I don't care. Like it just doesn't. It's just gonna be miserable. So I said no to it, and then I watched the movie by accident last night, and I sort of enjoyed it. I mean, it was silly. I couldn't figure out why it didn't work. And I'm not going to say names because I don't want to I don't want to piss anybody off. But it was just, it was just interesting to see that my instincts are sort of right. And for the most part, I think I know the film industry enough that when I can read a script and I can get a read on who's doing what and who's involved and all that kind of stuff. And I can sort of go like, that could be cool, And at the same time, you can also go like, that's not going to be cool. So it was interesting anyways. What do we got? I tried acting here in the UK years ago, hated it, never done it since. So bitchy, seems different overseas, but not had any experience. The Tool Guy, it's the same everywhere. Yeah, honestly, it's about the same. How do you get an actor to complain? Give them a job. Exactly, Anima Confusa. It's like, how does an actor screw in a light bulb? And how many actors does it take to screw in a light bulb? One, and then the world revolves around them. Speaking of acting, though, I am going to say this. I have had a couple of people ask me about acting, about how to get into it and some advice and all that kind of stuff. A lot of it comes down to can I meet your agent, basically? Like the agent is somehow the holy grail for this stuff. And in some cases it can be. And I think when you start out, when you first start out, I think an agent is probably one of the most important parts of it. And hard work and learning your lines and not bumping into the furniture, that kind of stuff. But it's been asked so many times by so many people now that I thought I might do like an acting bandits, like do almost like a little chat and like sort of Q&A type thing about acting and some of my thoughts on I mean, again, for what they're worth. I mean, I don't think I'm an ideal person to talk to about this stuff because I think my experience is very different. Straight white male growing up, started in the 80s, when they wanted straight white males with blonde hair and blue eyes. And I mean, like I was definitely at the right time at the right place to get into what I was getting into. I think it's very different now. But that said, I've been sort of like obsessed with keeping track of other ways into this industry as well. So I have some ideas on how I would like to see people approach it and how I think it could work to approach it differently now that there's different technologies and stuff like YouTube and all that kind of jazz. So I kind of like to do some, not really, hopefully not lectures, although God, this is basically a lecture, isn't it? Like a freaking monologue, I'm talking to myself. But I'm still thinking about doing some acting bandits, and I've got a fantastic candidate who is this incredibly funny and lovely. She was an AD that I worked with, and I was so impressed with her as an assistant director. So she was, manning the trailers and making sure everyone got where they were supposed to get at the right time, and and that the shockingly privileged, arrival of breakfasts and things. Anyways, but she was just great. And she had expressed interest in getting into acting. And my first response is always like, well, don't. For God's sake, don't, especially as a woman. Oh my God, it's a nightmare. Anyways, she sent me some stuff to look at, and I was just blown away by what she was capable of doing. So I was like, okay, let's talk. Let's do some talking about, let's come up with a plan. Let's come up with some like crazy plan. And then I thought, well, if we're going to come up with a crazy plan for how to become an actor now, let's sort of open it up to people and see if we can do, spread it around a little bit, see what because I think there's a misunderstanding about how the industry works in a lot of different ways. I also think the industry doesn't understand how it works in many ways. I think even casting doesn't entirely know how casting works. or they think it's working in a different way than it is right now. So I think there'd be sort of like a fun kind of like acting 3.0 stuff that I could go into, which could be kind of fun. So I don't know if anyone's interested in that, let me know. Or they have people who they might, who might want to be a part of that. I don't know how exactly to do it, but I just thought it could be kind of fun to sort of do a little sort of a little chat about how one does this. Kenny Ken. Right back at you, legend. How's the leaky roof? Hope it's fixed. The leaky roof is, touch wood, is fixed, but they haven't done the whole roof, which is very frustrating. So they did all the nooks and crannies, but they didn't do the flat part. And they're now saying that the flat part should probably be done. I was like, well, why the fuck didn't we do it while we were up there? But, whatever. So we're going to probably get that done in spring. So a little bit more to do, a little more money to spend. Who is a lovely and shorter person than they expected them to be? Is it me? Am I shorter? Am I lovely and shorter than I imagined? McKay Apatoli said, a lot of YouTubers may need people to do voiceovers for intros and such as well. No idea how you go about connecting with people on it. Oh, voiceovers and stuff. That's smart. I found there was a way. Again, this is all stuff I think I should go into because there's definitely other ways in. There's definitely other ways in now. And I also think that I want to make sure that people understand what they're getting into. Because, again, so this friend of mine who I want to talk to and introduce you guys to, I think there is a tendency to think like, oh, you get an agent, you get jobs, you're an actor. And that is how the majority of people approach it. And I think that's wrong. I just don't think that works. I think it can work. And I think, yes, you can probably earn almost a living doing that, certainly up here. But I don't think you're going to be happy doing it. Because that's not what you didn't get into acting to do one line in this and one line in that and a basically background performer here and a bad ad here, a bad commercial here and that kind of stuff. You got into acting because you want to act. So that's what I want to push for. And I'm not going to teach anyone how to act because I think that's up to you. What works for me is not going to work for other people, and some people are going to like how I act and some people aren't. And that's going to be the same thing for everybody. So I'm not going to tell you how to act. But there's definitely a lot of I think technique stuff, technical stuff you can learn. And I think there's also just some, just old guy wisdom. Some old guy stuff who's been through a lot of stuff and can tell you a basic idea about things. So anyways, I don't know why. I've never wanted to do this before. And there was just something about talking to this friend of mine about it that made me go, you know what? Maybe I'm being a bit of a selfish, dick for for maybe not. I complain about it all the time, and I complain about young actors all the time. Well, not so much complain about. Well, no, I do. I complain about old actors too. I can just complain in general. So I thought maybe there's a way of spreading a little bit of the Hewlett approach to acting and see if that works. What would be funny would be to talk to Kate about it as well, because Kate and I have very, very different opinions about stuff as well. Kate approaches stuff very, very differently than I do. Wrong, I would say, but all right, Scott Perch is laughing already. Brandon, have a good day. Brandon, are you out of here? Gotta get some uni work. Yeah, do it. Catch you later. Thanks for coming, Brandon. A pleasure. I'm gonna wrap up now anyways. It's almost an hour. And as you know, Dog's Breakfast 2 for 2022. It's got a nice rhyme. It's got a nice ring to it, isn't it? Dog's Breakfast 2, 2022. It'll be fun. I haven't written in so long though. Is that Berlin on the shirt? Yes, it is. It is. It's the Berlinale Film Festival. My wife always brings back wonderful things from Berlin. In fact, we even have, I think we've got here you go. Let me show you this little beast. Hello. What do you think of that, huh? The bear, the Berlin bear. One of her prized possessions. I've actually been looking for more of them. And if you're in Berlin, let me know. Let me know if you find any of the Berlin bears. I love them. I think they're great, and Jane's a big fan of them too. So I thought we should get some more. She is a huge, huge fan of the Berlin Film Festival. Absolutely loves it. Goes every year she possibly can. I think she's pretty miserable that it may not be happening. Twitch streams. I'm thinking about maybe doing a Tech Bandits. What time is it now? Oh God, it's almost 2:00. I got to walk the dog, get showered, all that kind of stuff. I might try to do a Tech Bandits tonight. Tomorrow I'm doing the Salty Nerds podcast about Doctor Who. So I've got to watch that. And then, so maybe either today or tomorrow, I'll probably be back on Twitch. Baz had me, it was really nice. Baz actually invited me to play Fortnite again the other day. I actually went and downloaded Fortnite, and we played together. We played with Jack Jasra, who's fantastic. Go follow Jack Jasra as well. Artist and wonderful guy. The Bob Ross of Germany, basically. Is it Germany? Is he in Germany? And where is he based? He's the Bob Ross of my heart. How's that? The digital Bob Ross. So he and I and Cal played, but Cal was feeling too under the weather to play with us, if you can believe that. The day after New Year's, I was like, "What on earth have you been up to, woman? Because you are too sick to play Fortnite with us when I demand her attention, and she's not there." It's terrible. All right, I'm wrapping up. I will say thank you to everyone. Didn't recognize you with the beard. Thought you were my neighbor. I know, or Lemmy. Don't I look like Lemmy from Motorhead? Yeah, I need to get some of those little short shorts. Brian Moon, thank you very much. I'd forgotten that people can actually do that. Thank you, Brian. That's very, very kind of you. What was that for? That was for to get the shaving haircut. Here's a $1.99 for a shaving haircut. Thank you, Brian. Very much appreciated. En theater. I like that. En theater. It's like as was my dog, which is en farter. Have a great year, everyone. Yes, indeed. Yeah, everybody. Seriously, 2022. Let's not mistake freedom for selfishness. Let's be safe, be kind, be brilliant, and we'll talk soon. Thank you very much for. Oh my God. Now Bonton Zed is throwing money at me too. Thank you very much, Bonton. That's very kind of you. This is awful because I'm trying to say goodbye and people are now throwing money at me. This is very unkind of you. So thank you for that. Again, any of this, I'll put all this in the Tech Bandits coffers, and I'm sure spend it like water, because that's basically amazing how fast that stuff goes by. Our Minecraft server was crazy expensive. That was insane. We've actually I've let it go now, but I'm wondering if maybe I should start one up and just open it up to everybody as like part of the, maybe if you subscribe or something. I don't know. I got to figure that stuff out. I should do? I would also like to do like a podcasting online strategy day. In fact, I might even talk to the salty nerds about that. I was talking to Matthew about like about self-publishing and podcasting and all that kind of stuff. And so we're thinking about maybe doing like a podcast bandits as well, like do a podcast bandits and maybe another writing bandits, and get him talking about self-publishing and stuff. My father has a book on weirdly enough, on infertility. He's OB-GYN. He's retired now, but he has this kind of great book on about having babies and stuff. And that was such a shame that he never. It was briefly published by a company that did nothing and badly edited and everything. And so I've offered to sort of, digitize it basically and provide an ebook and maybe set it up in a way that he can actually have a little bit of sort of passive income coming in from this amazing book that he wrote. Because, like years and years of experience he goes back to the early in vitro days. Like we would go on holiday in England. He'd rush off and go to dairy farms to see how they were cloning sheep and cattle and stuff, because they were so far ahead of the human medical side of this stuff, because legislation and ethics and stuff like that. Ethics, little things like that. So he was sort of a pioneer in Toronto of that stuff. And then by the end of his practice, when he retired, he'd sort of come around to this almost like environmental approach to it, where he was like, a lot of this technology is unnecessary. People are just trying to do either too much or too little, or they just don't know the basics, which I thought was kind of interesting. And the book is it's very much my dad. And of course it's my dad, so I want to help him out. And I also love the idea of self-publishing. So I thought, oh great, well this is a good opportunity for me to try something, a little different. And so I'm curious to talk to people about that as well. And I have another friend, obviously Crow Scratch, who does these amazing Tales from the Haunted Library books. And he's self-published too. And it's definitely a tough road, but a fun one. Oh, look, I'm saying goodbye for 20 minutes again. I've done it again. Ever hear the Insectoids or Insectoids? It's a Wraith side-based perspective about Wraith characters made by a fan. It's really interesting, dark, but I love it. Oh, really? No, I haven't. I don't have time to read everything. There's too much to read now. There's a whole interwebs. I haven't finished reading the internet yet. Forgot you were born in Surrey. The English twang is still there a bit. It comes out every so often. It's funny. I'm going to play it up a little bit in this next thing. Instead of chance, I'm going to try to say chance, and instead of half, I'm going to try to say half, that kind of stuff. Just basically just play up that uptight British bastard that dwells within me. All right, keep talking, Sabniko. I won't actually, because frankly, I'm getting to the point where I'm getting quite chilly because I was all sweaty and now that's all evaporated. Now I'm all cold because it is minus 15 and we've had to open some windows because we have a little canine who just loves to toot. Yep, it's like Walter the farting dog here. So we have our windows open, not just for COVID, but for breathing in general. So they had to take it off for public listing, but you're interested, you can find the author on Facebook. Oh wow, okay. Someone quick, super chat to keep him going. No, in theater, don't do that. Oh my God, Captain Catherine. Stratus Strong is self-published on Amazon. How's that going, Stratus? Do you enjoy it? I mean, is it working for you? Captain Catherine, thank you very, very much. That was entirely unnecessary, but thank you very much. Minus 15 Celsius or Fahrenheit? Celsius, right? Isn't it Celsius? Is that what we're talking about? It's only minus 6 now. Forget it. Take it back. Everyone's laughing at me because I haven't left. Dog fog. Oh my God. It's like a pea soup fog. It is the most, that dog, it's just like there's something dead in her. It's just horrific. Absolutely horrific. All right. Even Scotland hasn't hit 0 yet. Well, what's weird is the West Coast has had it worse than we have up until now. We've had this glorious spring-like weather, and then of course we just got, and then like all the snow landed in like an hour here, and chaos reigns. All right, be safe, be kind, be brilliant. I love you all. Well, do I? Probably not. Until we geek again, I will say a cheerio and huzzah! And I'm going to go and have a shower because God knows my wife will thank me for it. All right, bye. Cheers. Thanks everyone. Talk soon. Here I go. Oh God, I've forgotten how to do this. It's so funny. I've totally forgotten how to use this thing. Oh, I'm going to stop streaming. I am. Okay, goodbye everyone. Thank you.